The day my father asked me where my car was, I had to tell him the truth. My husband and his mother had been pressuring me for months. And what did I do next? It destroyed their world completely. But here's what they didn't know. I had been planning this moment for 8 months. Every insult, every demand, every time they treated me like I was nothing, I was collecting evidence. And when it all came crashing down, they never saw it coming. But the real shock? When I finally confronted them, I discovered they'd already gone behind my back and committed a crime. A felony. And my father, a retired Marine, had been 3 steps ahead of them the entire time. This is the story of how I went from being controlled to watching them face criminal charges for what they tried to steal from me. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand why some people should never underestimate a woman who's been pushed too far. My name is Sarah, and this is how I got my power back. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor, drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. Are you Team Sarah, or do you think I went too far? Let's see who's really here for this story. Comment on your city or state below. Here's what you need to know going into this story. 3 questions that'll keep you here until the very end. 1. Why did they want my car so badly? 2. What did my father discover that changed everything? And 3. What crime did they commit that could have landed them in prison? See, this wasn't just about a car. It was about control. It was about a mother-in-law who thought she owned me, a husband who chose his mother over his wife, and a father who taught me that respect isn't given, it's demanded. By the time you reach the end, you'll know exactly why I have no regrets. Let me take you back to where it all started. 7 years ago, I met Darlington at a friend's barbecue. He was charming, attentive, and honestly, he felt like everything I'd been looking for. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. And when he got down on one knee in front of my father's house, I thought I was getting my fairy tale. But there was something I didn't see coming. Someone, actually. Darlington's mother, Patricia. From the very first time I met her, I could feel it. The coldness. The way she looked at me like I wasn't good enough for her precious son. But Darlington always brushed it off. Baby, that's just how she is. She'll warm up to you. That's what he'd say. Spoiler alert? She never did. We got married in the fall of 2020. Small ceremony because of COVID. But Patricia? She made sure to let me know that I wasn't her first choice. Not at the wedding. Not at the reception. Not ever. The first year of marriage was okay. We lived in our own apartment. Darlington had a decent job in sales. I worked as a nurse. We were building something. Or at least, I thought we were. But then Patricia started getting sick. Nothing serious, just enough to need help. And guess who Darlington volunteered to move in with her? That's right. Us. I told Darlington it was a bad idea. I told him we needed our space. But he hit me with the guilt trip. Sarah, she's my mother. She raised me alone. Are you really going to make me choose? That's what he said to me. And just like that, we moved into Patricia's house. That was 3 years ago. And let me tell you, those 3 years, they broke me down piece by piece. Every morning, Patricia had something to say. My cooking wasn't good enough. I didn't clean the right way. I worked too much. I didn't work enough. And Darlington? He never defended me. Not once. But the worst part? The part that made me realize I was trapped? It was my car. I bought that car with my own money. Before I even met Darlington. It was the first major purchase I ever made. A 2016 Honda Accord. Fully paid off. Clean title. Mine. And Patricia wanted it. It started small. Little comments here and there. You know, Sarah, that car is too nice for someone who barely leaves the house. Such a waste. That's what Patricia would say. Then it escalated. Darlington's car is falling apart. He needs something reliable for work. You barely drive yours. Why don't you just let him use it? At first, I said no. Firmly. That car was mine. But then Darlington started in on me too. Sarah, be reasonable. My mom's right. I need a dependable car for work. You're being selfish. Selfish? Darlington, I worked double shifts to pay for that car. It's mine. What's yours is ours now, remember? We're married. And there it was. The trap. The manipulation. What's mine is suddenly ours when it benefits him. But when I needed support, when I needed him to stand up to his mother, suddenly I was on my own. For 8 months, they pressured me. Every single day. Patricia would make comments at dinner. Darlington would give me the silent treatment. They'd team up on me, cornering me in the kitchen, the living room, anywhere they could. And then one day, Darlington came to me with an ultimatum. Sarah, my mom and I have been talking. We think it's best if you sign the car over to me, just to make things easier. You know, for insurance purposes. Insurance purposes. That's what he said. Like I was stupid. Like I didn't know what they were trying to do. But here's what they didn't know. I had already seen this coming. Months ago. See, I'm not just a nurse. I'm meticulous. I document everything. And the moment I realized what they were trying to do, I started building my case. I recorded Patricia's rants. I saved every text message from Darlington pressuring me. I even installed a dash cam in my car to catch any suspicious activity. Because I knew that if I didn't protect myself, they'd take everything. And then came the day that changed everything. The day I went to visit my father. Before I tell you what happened next, I need to know, are you still with me? If you've made it this far and you're locked in, drop a comment right now and tell me, I'm still here. Let's see who's really writing this story out to the end. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. Trust me, you don't want to miss how this ends. My father, Robert, is a retired Marine. Tough as nails. Taught me everything about standing up for myself. But he's also the type who doesn't interfere in his kids' marriages unless asked. I hadn't told him about the pressure Darlington and Patricia were putting on me. I didn't want to worry him. But that Sunday afternoon when I pulled up to his house in an Uber, he knew something was wrong immediately. Hey, sweetheart. Where's your car? That's what he asked me. And just like that, I broke. Everything I'd been holding in for 8 months came pouring out. I told him everything. The pressure. The manipulation. How Darlington had basically demanded I sign over my car. How Patricia treated me like I was nothing. How I felt trapped in my own marriage. My father didn't say much at first. He just listened. But when I finished, he looked at me with this expression I'd never seen before. Not anger. Something colder. More calculating. Sarah, when was the last time you physically saw your car? With your own eyes? I froze. Because I realized. I hadn't seen my car in 3 days. Darlington had told me he took it to get an oil change. Said it was still at the shop. My father pulled out his phone and made a call. Turns out, he has a friend who works in title searches. Someone he served with in the military. And what he asked for sent chills down my spine. Hey Marcus. I need you to run a title search for me. My daughter's Honda Accord. I need to know if there's been any recent activity. Any transfers, any sales, anything. It took less than 10 minutes for Marcus to call back. And what he told us. It made my blood run cold. It took less than 10 minutes for Marcus to call back. And what he told us. It made my blood run cold. The car had been sold 3 days ago to Martinez Auto Sales on Route 9 for $18,000. My father's face went completely still. Then he looked at me and said something I'll never forget. Sarah, you know what I taught you. You don't let anyone, and I mean anyone, take what's yours. Not even your husband. Especially not if he can't respect you. Now, here's what we're going to do. And that's when I knew. It was time to stop being passive. It was time to take control. But more than that, it was time to make sure they faced real consequences. My father and I spent the next 3 days building an airtight case. We went to Martinez Auto Sales and got copies of all the paperwork. And that's when we saw it. My signature on the title transfer. Except it wasn't my signature. It was a forgery. A bad one. Anyone who knew my real signature could tell the difference immediately. My father contacted his attorney friend. We filed a police report. We gathered the security footage from the dealership showing Darlington alone, signing documents, accepting a check for $18,000. And then we followed the money. That check? It was deposited into Darlington's account. And within hours, he'd transferred every single penny to his mother's account. $18,000. That's what my car was worth. That's what Patricia wanted so badly. And that's what Darlington was willing to commit a felony to get for her. But here's what they didn't know. Forgery is a serious crime. Selling property that isn't yours? Also a crime. And my father? He made sure we had documentation of everything. It all came to a head on a Tuesday night. I went back to Patricia's house. My father came with me. And we brought copies of everything. The forged title. The dealership paperwork. The bank transfers. All of it. Darlington was sitting in the living room when we walked in. Patricia was in the kitchen. And when they saw my father with me, they knew something was very, very wrong. Sarah, what's going on? Why is your father here? I didn't answer him. Instead, I dropped a folder on the coffee table. Let it fall open so he could see what was inside. Darlington, do you want to tell me where my car is? Or should I tell you where it is? I. I told you. It's at the shop. No, it's not. It's at Martinez Auto Sales. Or actually, it was. You sold it 3 days ago. For $18,000. Money that you immediately gave to your mother. Patricia walks in from the kitchen. What is she talking about, Darlington? I'm talking about the fact that your son forged my signature, sold my car, and committed a felony. That's what I'm talking about, Patricia. You could have heard a pin drop. Darlington went pale. Patricia's eyes went wide. And my father? He just stood there, arms crossed, watching them squirm. Then I kept going. Here's a copy of the forged title. Here's the security footage from the dealership. Here's the bank records showing the transfer to your mother's account, Darlington. And here, this is the police report I filed yesterday morning. You committed forgery. You sold property that wasn't yours. And you gave the money to your mother, which makes her an accessory. So here's what's going to happen. Patricia tried to interrupt, but my father stepped forward. You're going to listen. My daughter has been more than patient with both of you. But you crossed a line. A legal line. So here are your options. Option 1. You return every penny of that $18,000 within 48 hours. You give Sarah an uncontested divorce with no claim to any of her assets. And you leave her alone for the rest of your lives. Or option 2. We go to the police with all of this evidence, and you both face criminal charges. Forgery carries up to 5 years in prison. Fraud carries even more. And I promise you, with the evidence we have, you will be convicted. Darlington looked at his mother. Patricia looked back at him. And for the first time in 3 years, I saw fear in their eyes. You'd think that's where the story ends, right? They return the money, I get my divorce, everyone moves on. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Not even me. Patricia didn't have the money. She'd already spent it. Most of it, anyway. On what, she wouldn't say. But when we demanded the $18,000 back, she admitted she only had about $4,000 left. Which meant she'd burned through $14,000 in 3 days. My father looked at her and said something that still gives me chills. Then you have 48 hours to figure it out. Sell something. Borrow it. I don't care. But if Sarah doesn't have that money by Thursday afternoon, we're going to the police. And this time, we're pressing full charges. Patricia tried to play the victim. Started crying, saying she was old, that she couldn't go to prison, that this was all a misunderstanding. But my father didn't budge. Neither did I. You should have thought about that before you spent my daughter's money. Over the next 48 hours, I watched their world fall apart. Patricia had to ask relatives for money. I had to sell jewelry. Had to beg. And Darlington? He had to help her. Had to face what he'd done. They got the money together. Barely. Handed me a cashier's check for $18,000 on Thursday at 2 p.m. My father and his attorney were there to witness it. But here's the kicker. Once I had the money back, I filed for divorce anyway. And I still kept copies of all the evidence, just in case they ever tried to come after me again. 2 weeks after I moved out, I got a call from Darlington. He was crying, begging me to come back, saying his mother had turned on him. That without me there to blame, she was making his life hell. Sarah, please. She's making my life miserable. I see now. I see what she did to us. To you. I'm so sorry. And here's where I could have been the bigger person. Where I could have taken him back. But you know what I did instead? I hung up, blocked his number, and never looked back. Because here's what I learned. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Darlington had 7 years to choose me. He chose his mother every time. And he was willing to commit a crime for her. I wasn't about to waste another second of my life on someone like that. My father and I have coffee every Sunday morning. Sometimes we laugh about how scared Darlington looked when we confronted him. Sometimes we just sit in comfortable silence. But every single time, I thank him for teaching me to stand up for myself. So if you're out there, stuck in a situation where someone's trying to control you, manipulate you, or take what's rightfully yours, remember this story. Remember that you have the power to walk away, to say no, to choose yourself, and to make sure there are consequences when people cross the line. Because at the end of the day, the only person who can save you is you. Thank you for watching my story. Seriously. If you made it all the way to the end, drop a comment and let me know what you think. Would you have handled it differently? Have you been through something similar? I want to hear from you. And if you want to hear more stories like this, real stories about real people taking back their power, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, remember, You are stronger than you think. You are worth more than how anyone treats you. And you deserve respect. My name is Sarah. And this was my story. Oh, and one more thing. That police report I filed? I never withdrew it. It's still on record. Just in case they ever try anything again. Because some people need to learn that actions have consequences. To see you in the next one.